Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at AI and leadership.
Okay.
So specifically, you know how to implement AI responsibly,
Right.
especially when it comes to leadership roles.
Yeah.
And we've got some excerpts here
Okay.
from this article
Uh-huh.
called Desafíos Éticos Humanos a Liderazgo,
Okay. Interesting.
which really dives into those human challenges
Yeah.
with using AI in leadership.
And what's cool about this article is it takes a very practical approach.
Okay.
It's not just these high-level concepts.
Ah.
It actually breaks down potential challenges into 5 key areas.
Okay.
We've got automated decision-making,
Okay.
transparency in algorithms,
Right.
the impact on employment, privacy concerns,
Yeah.
and how AI can change the distribution of power.
Okay, so let's jump into that first one.
Sure.
About automated decision making.
Okay.
I think we can all agree
Yeah.
that AI has this amazing potential to
Right.
make super fast, data-driven decisions.
Using tons of information,
Yep.
it seems like a no-brainer for efficiency, right?
It definitely seems that way.
Yeah.
But what this article brings up is this idea that if we rely too heavily on algorithms,
Okay.
we risk losing the human element in leadership.
Oh, okay.
So things like intuition,
Right.
empathy,
Yeah.
and understanding
Yeah.
of how a decision might impact people.
Uh-huh.
Those are all things that are hard to program
Right.
into an algorithm.
Yeah. So it's not as simple as
Yo.
just letting the AI make all the calls.
Exactly. The article argues that AI should be used to support leaders, not replace them.
Got it.
It gives this example of,
Okay.
a company using AI
Yeah.
to analyze customer data and make product recommendations.
Okay.
That could be super helpful for a leader.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they should blindly follow
Yeah.
those recommendations. Like, what if the AI suggests a product? That would be harmful to a certain community.
Right.
Or that goes against the company values.
Right.
That's where human judgment
Yeah.
is still critical.
It makes me think of those self-driving cars
Yeah.
we keep hearing about.
Uh-huh.
The technology is incredible,
It is.
but most people still aren't comfortable
Right.
handing over complete control.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same with leadership.
Uh-huh.
We need to find ways
Yeah.
to make AI work with us, not instead of us.
I think that's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
And the article actually suggests
Okay.
some concrete ways to strike that balance.
Okay.
Things like creating diverse review committees
Okay.
to provide that human oversight, or even training leaders
Yeah.
on how to interpret data
Okay.
and spot potential biases.
So equipping leaders with the skills
Right.
to use AI
Yeah.
effectively
Mm-hmm.
and ethically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so AI can be a powerful tool,
Right.
but it needs careful guidance.
It does.
What about that second challenge
Yeah.
the article mentions? Transparency.
Transparency.
It seems like if we're going to use AI in leadership,
Yeah.
everyone needs to understand
Right.
how it works.
Transparency is key, especially when it comes to algorithms.
Okay.
The article points out that algorithms are often built
Right.
using historical data,
Okay.
and that data
Yeah.
can reflect existing biases in society.
So if we're not careful,
Right.
we could end up with AI systems
Yeah.
that perpetuate those biases.
Exactly.
Maybe in hiring
Mhm.
or promotions,
Yep.
or even how resources are allocated.
Mm-hmm.
So even if an algorithm is designed with good intentions,
Yeah.
it could still end up causing harm
All right.
if it's trained on biased data.
That's the danger.
Okay.
The article uses a real-world example
Okay.
of a facial recognition system
Okay.
that was trained primarily on images of lighter-skinned faces.
Okay.
As a result, it was much less accurate
Wow.
at recognizing darker-skinned faces,
Yeah.
which led to some pretty serious consequences.
It's a stark reminder
Yeah,
that
right.
technology is never truly neutral.
Right.
It reflects the values and biases of
Yeah.
the people who create it. So how do we make sure
Yeah.
that the AI systems we're using are fair
Right.
and unbiased?
The article emphasizes the importance of what they call explainable AI,
Okay.
which essentially means
Yeah.
that the AI's decision-making process should be transparent and
Right.
understandable,
Gotcha.
even to people
Right.
who aren't data scientists.
So it's not enough to just get a result
Right.
from an algorithm.
Yeah.
You need to be able to understand
Uh-huh.
the reasoning behind it.
Imagine a hiring manager
Okay.
using an AI tool
Yeah.
to screen job applicants.
Mm-hmm.
If the AI rejects a candidate, the manager should be able to understand why. Was it based on relevant skills and experience?
Yeah.
Or was it influenced by some hidden bias
Right.
in the data?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If we can't understand how an AI is making decisions,
Right.
how can we trust it?
Exactly. And the
Yeah.
article also points out
Yeah.
that having diverse teams
Okay.
building these AI systems is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
You want people with
Uh-huh.
different backgrounds,
Yeah.
experiences, and perspectives involved
Uh-huh.
to make sure that the AI
Okay.
is designed to be
Yeah.
as fair and inclusive as possible.
So transparency and diversity are key when it comes to building
Yeah.
ethical AI systems.
Right.
Now, the third area the article tackles is the impact of AI on employment.
Okay.
This is a big one, right?
It is a big one.
There's a lot of fear and uncertainty about how AI might displace human workers.
It's definitely a valid concern.
Okay.
The article doesn't shy away from that.
Okay.
It acknowledges that as AI becomes more sophisticated,
Right.
it's likely that some jobs will become automated.
Yeah.
But it also emphasizes that this doesn't have to be
Right.
a purely negative outcome.
So it's not necessarily a doom and gloom scenario where robots take over all the jobs.
Think of it more
Okay.
as a shift in the types of skills that are in demand.
Okay.
The article suggests that leaders
Yeah.
need to focus on reskilling
Right.
and upskilling their workforce
Oh, okay.
to prepare them
Yeah.
for the jobs of the future.
So maybe instead of replacing workers entirely,
Right.
AI could be used to augment their skills.
Exactly.
And make them even more effective.
That's the idea.
I've heard this idea of AI as a coworker
Yeah.
rather than a replacement.
Exactly. The article gives the example
Okay.
of healthcare. Imagine a nurse
Okay.
using AI to help analyze patient data
Okay.
and identify potential risks. That frees up the nurse to spend more time
Right.
on direct patient care.
Which ultimately benefits everyone.
Exactly.
So it's about finding the right balance
Yeah.
between human skills and AI capabilities.
The article also stresses
Mm-hmm.
the importance of open communication.
Right.
Leaders need to be upfront with their employees about how AI might change their roles
Okay.
and what they can do to prepare.
So honesty and transparency
Yeah.
seem to be recurring themes here.
They are?
What about the fourth challenge?
Okay.
Privacy.
Privacy.
I think a lot of people are concerned about how AI might be used to monitor employees.
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
The article points out that AI could be used to track employee productivity, analyze their communication patterns,
Yeah.
or even monitor their emotions.
Wow.
And while there might be some legitimate uses for these technologies, it's easy to see how they could be misused.
It's almost like the Big Brother scenario
Right.
that people have been worried about for years.
And the article argues that leaders need to be very careful about how they implement these types of AI-powered monitoring systems.
Okay.
It recommends establishing clear guidelines and policies to ensure that employee privacy is protected.
So it's not about banning these technologies outright, about using them responsibly and ethically.
Exactly.
Right.
Like maybe AI could be used to track employee hours or ensure compliance with safety regulations.
Right.
But it's important to make sure that employees are aware of how their data is being collected and used.
Okay.
And that their privacy rights are being respected.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all about finding that balance between using AI effectively and protecting individual rights.
Exactly.
Now, the final challenge
Okay.
the article discusses is the distribution of power. How do we make sure that AI doesn't just exacerbate existing inequalities?
This is a crucial point.
Okay.
The article argues that AI has the potential to concentrate power in the hands of those who control it,
Okay.
which could widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
So we need to think about who's building AI, who has access to it, and who benefits from it.
Absolutely. Like, for example,
Okay.
if only large corporations can afford to invest in AI, it could give them a significant advantage
Right.
over smaller businesses.
Or if AI education and training are only available to a privileged few, it could create a new digital divide.
Exactly.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about the social and economic structures
Yeah.
that surround it.
The article challenges leaders
Okay.
to think about how they can use AI
Right.
to create a more equitable and just society.
Yeah.
Not just to increase their own power and profit.
It's a big challenge.
It is.
But it's one that we can't ignore.
We can't.
I think the key takeaway from this article is that ethical AI leadership isn't just about avoiding harm.
Right.
It's about proactively using AI to make the world a better place.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about using AI to empower people, not to control them.
Right. And that's a responsibility that we all share.
I completely agree.
Now that we've explored these 5 key challenges, let's shift gears a bit and look at some of the specific ways that AI is already being used in leadership roles.
There are some really interesting examples out there.
Okay.
One that comes to mind is AI-powered performance management systems.
Okay.
These systems can analyze employee data to provide feedback, identify areas for improvement, and even suggest personalized development plans.
So it's like having a virtual coach.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
But of course, there are some potential downsides to consider as well.
Like what?
Well, for one, there's the issue of bias.
Okay.
If the AI system is trained on data that reflects existing biases in the workplace, it could perpetuate those biases in its feedback and recommendations.
So it's important to make sure
Absolutely.
that the data used to train these systems is as fair and representative as possible.
Absolutely. And there's also the question of human interaction. Some people might feel uncomfortable receiving feedback from a machine. Or they might prefer to discuss their performance with a human manager.
It's important to remember that AI is a tool, not a replacement for human judgment and empathy.
I completely agree.
And I think that's a good segue into our next topic. AI-driven decision-making.
AI-driven decision-making.
This is an area where AI has the potential to make a huge impact, but it's also one that's fraught with ethical challenges.
What are some of the...
what are some of those specific ethical challenges?
Okay, well, one of the biggest concerns is the potential for bias. As we've already discussed. But there are other issues as well, such as transparency, accountability, and the potential for unintended consequences.
Let's break those down a bit.
Okay.
What do you mean by transparency and accountability?
Okay, so transparency means that the decision-making process should be clear and understandable both to the people who are affected by the decisions and to the people who are responsible for implementing them. Accountability means that there should be clear lines of responsibility for the decisions that are made, and that there should be mechanisms in place to address any harm that might result from those decisions.
So it's not enough
to
just have an AI system that spits out a decision. We need to understand how it arrived at that decision and who's responsible for it.
Exactly. And we also need to be thinking about the potential for unintended consequences. Even if an AI system is designed with good intentions, it could still have unforeseen negative effects.
Can you give an example of that?
Sure. Imagine an AI system that's designed to help a company reduce its energy consumption. The system might recommend shutting down certain parts of the company's operations during off-peak hours. However, if the system isn't properly designed, it could accidentally shut down critical systems.
Oh, wow.
Causing a major disruption to the company's business.
So it's important.
It is.
To anticipate potential problems and build in safeguards.
Exactly. And it's also important to have a plan in place to address any unintended consequences that might occur.
That makes sense now.
Okay.
Let's shift gears again and talk about the impact of AI on leadership itself.
On leadership itself.
How is AI changing the way that leaders lead?
I think one of the biggest impacts is the increasing availability of data. AI is making it possible for leaders to collect and analyze vast amounts of data about their employees, their customers, and their competitors, this data can be incredibly valuable, but it also presents some challenges.
What kind of challenges?
Well, for one, it can be overwhelming.
Okay.
Leaders need to be able to sift through all of this data and identify the insights that are truly relevant to their decision-making.
Yeah. It's not just about having data. It's about knowing what to do with it.
Exactly. And there's also the risk of becoming too reliant on data.
Right.
Leaders need to be careful not to let data drive all of their decisions.
Okay.
They still need to use their intuition, their experience, and their values to guide their leadership.
So it's about finding that balance between data-driven insights and human judgment.
And I think AI can actually help leaders to strike that balance.
Interesting.
For example, AI can be used to identify potential biases in data, which can help leaders to make more objective decisions.
That's interesting. So AI can actually help us,
I think so,
to be more human in our leadership?
AI can free up leaders from some of the more mundane tasks, which allows them to focus on the things that truly require human judgment and empathy, such as building relationships, inspiring your teams, and creating a positive work environment.
That's a great point, it sounds like.
Yeah.
AI has the potential to both enhance and challenge traditional leadership roles.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, listener.
Yeah.
As AI becomes more integrated into the workplace, how do you think it will impact the way that leaders lead?
It's a question we should all be considering.
Yeah.
As we move into this new era of leadership.
And it's something we'll continue to explore as we dive deeper into the world of AI and leadership in the rest of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to consider how AI might change the dynamics of leadership.
Right. Like, will it make leaders more effective? Or will it change, like, the skills that are most valued in leaders?
Those are great questions. And I don't think anyone has all the answers yet.
Right.
But one thing that is clear from this article is that AI isn't like a magic bullet.
Right.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
It reminds me of something we touched on earlier.
Yeah.
About the potential for AI to exacerbate inequalities.
Exactly.
Like, we can't just assume that AI will automatically lead to a better world.
No, we have to be intentional.
Right.
About changing its development and use.
Like, I'm thinking back to that example you gave about AI potentially concentrating power in the hands of large corporations.
Right.
Like, if we're not careful, AI could end up widening the gap between the rich and the poor.
Absolutely.
The powerful and the towerless.
And it's not just about economic inequality.
Right.
We also need to think about the potential for AI to reinforce existing biases and discrimination.
Like, for example, if an AI system is used to make decisions about hiring or lending, and that system is trained on data that reflects historical patterns of bias, it could end up perpetuating those biases.
It's a complex issue.
Yeah.
But there are a few things we can do.
Okay.
One is to be more intentional about collecting data from a diverse range of sources. Another is to use techniques like data augmentation to artificially create more diverse data sets. And of course, we need to be constantly auditing our AI systems to identify and mitigate any biases that might emerge.
It sounds like a lot of this comes down to human oversight.
I think so.
Like, we can't just set these AI systems loose.
No.
And expect them to figure things out on their own.
We need humans in the loop to make sure they're being used ethically and responsibly.
I completely agree. And I think that's one of the key takeaways from this whole conversation.
Okay.
AI is not a replacement for human leadership.
Okay.
It's a tool that can augment and enhance women leadership.
Okay.
But it's still humans who need to be making the decisions and setting the direction.
It's almost like a partnership between humans and AI.
I agree.
Like, we need each other to navigate this complex world.
We do.
And I think that partnership has the potential to be incredibly powerful if we approach it thoughtfully and intentionally.
I'm struck by this idea that AI might not just change what leaders do.
Yeah.
But also how they lead.
Right.
Imagine if instead of spending their time on routine tasks, leaders could use AI to free up more time for things like strategic thinking, creative problem solving, and building relationships.
It's almost like AI could give leaders superpowers,
allowing them to focus on the things that truly matter.
That's exciting.
But as we've discussed, it's not without its risks.
One thing that concerns me is the potential for AI to create a disconnect between leaders and their teams. If leaders are relying too heavily on AI-driven insights, they might lose touch with the day-to-day realities of their employees.
It's like that saying, out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
If leaders are only interacting with their teams through AI-powered dashboards and reports, they might miss out on those informal conversations and interactions that are so crucial for building trust and understanding.
Exactly. And that lack of connection could have a real impact on employee morale and engagement. People want to feel seen and heard. And they want to know that their leaders understand their challenges and perspectives.
So maybe one of the most important leadership skills in the age of AI will be the ability to balance data-driven insights with human empathy and connection.
I think that's spot on. Leaders will need to be able to use AI to gain a deeper understanding of their teams. But they'll also need to be able to step away from the data and connect with their employees on a human level.
It's almost like AI can give leaders a more holistic view of their organizations, but it's still up to the leaders to translate those insights into action in a way that's both effective and compassionate.
I'm also thinking about how AI might change the way that leaders are developed. Will we see AI-powered coaching platforms become more prevalent? Will future leaders need to be trained in data science and analytics?
It's definitely something to consider. I've seen a few companies starting to experiment with AI-powered coaching, and it'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
And I think you're right. Data literacy will likely become an increasingly important skill for leaders at all levels.
It makes me wonder if the traditional model of leadership development will need to be rethought.
It might.
Like, will we need to move away from generalized leadership training programs and towards more personalized, data-driven approaches?
That's a fascinating question. And it really highlights how AI is forcing us to rethink many of our assumptions about leadership.
It's not just about automating tasks. It's about fundamentally changing the way we lead and the way we develop leaders.
This whole conversation has really got me thinking about the future of leadership. Like, what kind of leaders will we need to navigate this increasingly complex and AI-driven world?
I think we'll need leaders who are adaptable, who are comfortable with ambiguity, who are lifelong learners, and who are deeply committed to ethical principles.
That's a great list, I'd add, that we'll need leaders who are skilled communicators, who can build bridges between humans and AI, and who can inspire and motivate others to embrace the possibilities of this new era.
It sounds like the future of leadership is going to be all about striking that balance, between leveraging the power of AI and retaining those essential human qualities that make great leaders, great.
Absolutely. And one of those essential qualities is the ability to think critically about the ethical implications of using AI. It's not enough to just focus on the potential benefits. We need to be asking ourselves tough questions about the potential risks and challenges, and we need to be prepared to address those challenges head on.
I think back to all the points we've discussed from this article, Desafíos Éticos Humanos IA Liderazgo. And it really highlights how complex these issues are.
They are.
We've talked about bias, privacy, the impact on employment, the potential for AI to concentrate power, the need for transparency and accountability.
All big issues.
These are not easy problems to solve.
They're not, but I think the fact that we're having these conversations is a positive sign.
Yeah.
It means that we're starting to grapple with the ethical implications of AI before it's too late.
I agree, and I think it's important to remember that these challenges aren't just theoretical.
Right.
They have real-world consequences for people's lives. The decisions we make about how to develop and use AI will have a profound impact on the future of work, the future of society, and the future of humanity.
It's a huge responsibility.
It is.
But it's also an incredible opportunity if we approach AI with wisdom and foresight. We can use it to create a world that's more more equitable and more prosperous for everyone.
So where do we go from here? Like, what can our listeners do to ensure that AI is used for good in the world?
I think one of the most important things to stay informed, read articles, listen to podcasts, attend conferences, talk to experts. The more you understand about AI, the better equipped you'll be to engage in these conversations and make informed decisions.
And don't be afraid to ask questions, even if you feel like you don't have a technical background. The ethical implications of AI are something that everyone needs to be thinking about, regardless of their expertise.
Yeah, and get involved.
Okay.
There are lots of organizations out there working to promote ethical AI. And there are many ways to get involved.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a tech expert, you can volunteer your time, donate to a cause you believe in, or simply spread the word.
I think it's also important to remember that we're all part of this conversation.
We are.
Whether you're a CEO, a software developer, or simply a concerned citizen, your voice matters.
Exactly. The future of AI is not predetermined. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make. So let's choose wisely.
Well said. And on that note, we'd like to leave you with one final thought to ponder. As AI becomes more powerful and more pervasive, what will it mean to be human? What values will we need to hold on to? And how can we ensure that AI serves humanity, not the other way around?
Those are questions that will continue to challenge us for years to come. But I believe that by engaging in these conversations, by challenging our assumptions, and by working together, we can create a future where AI and humanity thrive side by side.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
On this deep dive into the intersection of AI and leadership.
It's been great.
We hope you found it insightful and thought-provoking.
I hope so.
And remember, the conversation doesn't end here.
It doesn't.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep questioning. And keep pushing for a future where AI is used for good in the world.